Constructing your life is about much more than just building a bank account. Each week, join real estate entrepreneur and mindset coach Austin Linney as he interviews guests who are constructing their dream lives and impacting the world around them on a daily basis. If you're an entrepreneur or wanting to start a business, or you just want to hear motivating stories of how others have overcome the odds, you are in the right place. And now for your host, Austin Linney.
Guys, welcome back to Construct Your Life. This is Austin Linney here, and I am joined. There might not be a more positive person in the entire world than this man right here, Mr. Nico. How are you doing, my brother?
All right, Austin, man. Thank you so much for having me on the show. You know, we've talked a lot, but now I'm really excited that you invited me on your show, man.
Yeah. So something I want to point out, guys, is he has not taken a shower. Hold on, guys. Let me finish. A shower inside his house. He does have a shower outside all for a while now. And I remember I stayed at an Airbnb once that had a shower and a bathroom outside. And I can't tell you how freeing it was to take a shower outside. I know you didn't think I was going to go there right at first, but it matters.
Well, you're kind of right. Like, I haven't taken a shower, period. But it's been outside literally since April, so we're talking like 5 months now. And I'm trying to get to November. That's my goal. Hopefully, it won't get too cold.
And he lives in New York, guys. So it's a tad cold up there. So, dude, you can start where you want. I'll be honest with you. I know the real estate side of your life a little bit from following you, but when I was on your podcast, it was very eerie to me how similar our lives were. And I don't need you to broadcast your personal life if you don't want to, but if you want to share anything, that'd be great. You can start the story wherever you want, and then we can go from there.
Okay, cool, man. Yeah, so let's start back, I guess, in 2012 when I bought my first piece of land. We bought it in Nicaragua. Okay. Bought a piece of land in Nicaragua because I surf. That's one of my passions in life is surfing, and I've surfed all over the world. I found a beautiful little spot in Nicaragua, untouched. You could still find cowboys there and cows running around and people on horses with no saddles and everything. Just really cool area. And I was like, I'm buying a piece of land here. And I bought the first piece of land in this new development that they were trying to create. And then I built a house on it. And it took me a few years to build a house on it. But what was really cool was that after, building a house, we now have it up for sale today, and it's double what we paid for it. So I think that was just something that was really interesting to me. And
wow. So
yeah.
I want to unpack that because that's a dream of mine. There's so much unknown and there's so much scary. And like you said, it takes a couple years. It's not going to happen overnight. This is not America.
That's right. Yeah, no.
But I mean, dude, that's so rare for somebody to say like, hey, my first real estate transaction was in another country with another currency I have no contacts. Walk us through that. Like, what was the thought process? Is it just that you love surfing that much and it felt right?
Yeah, man. And it was scary. It was like I had like $20,000 to invest because I had some inheritance from my father passing away. And I spent the majority of that before the 20 grand on my current house, which I'll talk about after, because that was a whole nother story. And yeah, so I went down there a few times and I said, I have to buy something. I'm going to be coming here a lot. I would love to buy something. I would like to bring family members down here. I would like to have friends come down here. And, that was really the original goal. So I went down by myself a variety of times, just trying to talk with locals and figuring out who's selling what and how the system works down there. And there's all these laws with, how close you are to the beach and how much tax you have to pay or whatever. So it turns out that I found a development that was 100 yards from the beach. And this guy bought this entire plot of land. And that eased my mind because the goal for him was to have like a gated community. And I said, that's going to alleviate a lot of the issues or fears that I have for squatters and, other things that can arise from not being there if I'm not going to be there for the majority of the year. And, yeah, so then I met up with a real estate agent, a local real estate agent. It was actually from Century 21. Took me around to a lot of spots, and really, when we found this one plot of land, he really helped me negotiate the deal, and he helped me, navigate the whole process, the whole legal system down there. And because I speak Spanish, I'm a Spanish teacher. Me and him hit it off. But it's interesting. It took literally years to get the title cleared. It took over 2 years to get the title cleared and into my name. And that was just like a long waiting process. So kind of wild.
Yeah, and so you build it, you finally get the title clear. Why, if you were so passionate about it and you wanted to go there, two things: have you got any chance to enjoy it, and second of all, why so?
So no, I haven't gotten to enjoy it because, it then took us after, getting the title, we started building. It then took us literally till 6 months ago to complete. I was strapped on cash, and I was paying everything for, out of pocket. You can't mortgage anything down there. But it's done now. And right as COVID hit, it was finished, and I had people lined up to do it as, to rent it as an Airbnb.
Sure.
And then they fled because of COVID. So that's on hold now. And I have it up for sale. Like I said, double for what I paid for it in total. And, just hoping to get down there at this point. At this point, I want to keep it. But it is for sale, and if somebody comes along with the right price, I would sell it. But I would like to keep it, like I said, to continue the original dream that I had, where bringing family members down there and friends, and just having a good time surfing in the country.
Mm-hmm. And just so happens, a guy that does Airbnb, and he has a company that does it. So I'm just saying, if you want to if you want me to go down there and go down to Nicaragua, I bend my arm, but I think we could figure something out. So.
Oh man, you know what? I think we got a great connection right here, my friend. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah,
I would love that.
I mean, and not to mention, I know a lot of people in Costa Rica that already run Airbnbs, so it's right there. We got people that can take care of it. So, dude, I've never been surfing. Your Instagram makes me want to surf, so I'm definitely want to try it out one time. So I laugh because now this makes me even laugh more of the deal you just got into, which we're going to talk about, because you're definitely. But if people knew you, they would know that's the reason. You're definitely not the guy who's going to go the traditional route in investing for sure. So you're picking the hardest avenues. So why don't you share the story about your house you said you had? That was interesting too.
So in 2012, it was the same year that I bought this little plot of land. Hurricane Sandy hit. And for most people, that's in the back of everybody's mind. That's gone. Nobody even thinks about Hurricane Sandy anymore. But for me and my then wife at the time, we had just bought a house a few months prior. We bought a house in July, and then in October, Hurricane Sandy came in and literally took our house off the foundation. It lifted it, it moved it. We had water all throughout the house, and then the foundation kind of collapsed in. So we ended up having to demolish the house and build a brand new house. Now, obviously, we didn't have the money to do that, so that also took over 3 years to do, because we were in litigation, with the insurance company to get paid. And in the end, everything worked out wonderfully. Now I have a much better house. This is FEMA compliant. It's up 12 feet. It's raised, and I have a bigger and better house than I had before. But it did take 3 years.
Dude, what the fuck? I'm sorry. I mean, looking back now, I'm sure you can laugh and all that stuff, but seriously, walk me through it. This is not easy stuff. None of this shit, COVID, the hurricane. How do you keep such a positive mindset through all of this? And maybe you didn't. Maybe you did. I don't know. Maybe this is the new version of yourself, but walk me through the mindset of somebody like that who just keeps having these things happen to us over and over again.
Oh man, I always make choices. I make the choice to be positive, be present, and be happy. Now, it's easier said than done a lot of times. And there was one point when I was married at that time, and we were looking to start a family and have a child. And there was one point when everything went wrong. We lost our house, and I was still happy and positive. I don't care. You could put me in a closet and I'll live happy and fine in a closet. And we were staying with my in-laws, and we literally lived with them for 3 years. But there was one point when we were looking for a new house, and I realized, or I came to the conclusion, that there was no possible way that we can afford it. And we had already demolished our house. Mm-hmm. And I was in such I guess it was such a state of anxiety and stress that I feel that this is what contributed to me getting kidney stones 6 months later. And the doctor that I went to actually told me that kidney stones are typically formed through a crazy stressful event that happened 6 months prior, and it just happened to I happened to meet 6 months prior. So no, it was not easy. It was wild and challenging. But I think that in the end, what kept me positive and looking towards the future was knowing that after this is all done, I'm going to, number one, be stronger. And then number two, I'm going to have a bigger and better house that's worth a lot more. And it definitely raised our value. So we got a ton of equity in our house. We originally, bought it for $390. Now it was a tiny bungalow and we're in New York. So 390,000 isn't that much. We bought it for $390 and today it's worth $625. So.
Okay. Amazing. So patience paid off, seeing it through paid off, obviously, which in the moment is not the easiest thing to do. And go as deep as you want. I don't care. But like, obviously that wasn't the end of things happening to you, because I know you shared a little bit on when I came on your podcast. So,
yep.
So you're no longer with the current wife, correct?
Right.
That wife
man.
at the time.
Let's talk about that. So back in 2018, we got hit with a crazy tax jump and I could not afford my house again. And I panicked. And, my wife wasn't working. She was a stay-at-home mom. We had our daughter. She was 3 years old at the time. And 2018 hits and I'm like, oh, again, how am I going to afford this house? We're going to have to sell it or, go into foreclosure. We were facing what was called imminent foreclosure at the time, and I just couldn't, I was freaking out. So I ended up picking up as many extra jobs as I could. I was already coaching at the time. So I work as a school teacher. I ended up creating a program in the morning for the students so I could work before school. I ended up mentoring teachers to get a little bit extra money. I ended up teaching teachers in school, and I also ended up opening a wood shop. So I was handy at the time and I had some tools. And what I did was I just opened up what's called the small axe wood shop, where I believe that it only takes a small axe to build a lasting empire. And I began making things out of wood and selling them. And man, grinding night after night. When my daughter was sleeping, when my wife was sleeping, I would be up at night just making things, building things, and selling them for whatever I could sell them for. It really wasn't that lucrative, in hindsight, knowing that I was really putting in a lot of time and effort, and I was running myself to the ground, man. And came, this was a year or almost 2 years after doing all of this. I said, something's got to change. I'm going to burn out. There's no way I can survive more than a few years of this. Mm-hmm. I wasn't sleeping enough. I wasn't, I just wasn't present enough for people, for my family. And I really wanted to be, and I really missed that. And yes, I was saving our house in theory, and it worked, but it wasn't a healthy or sustainable lifestyle. So I then started looking back into real estate. And I started trying to partner with, local people here in New York to see if we can do some deals like single family houses. And then I looked at duplexes. I kept finding that none of these deals were working out. I was using like the Bigger Pockets calculator and doing my own underwriting, and it just wasn't working out until I know I'm talking a lot here. I'm getting a lot in at once.
You're good.
Until I met up with the Jake and Gino team, and I joined their team to do strictly multifamily and learn how to do strictly mom and pop multifamily. So from that day in November 2019, I learned that it was completely possible to buy apartment buildings, and that those two things happened. I learned that yes, I can buy apartment buildings. And then number two, that I can't do it alone and that I need a team. Because prior, I had always thought that I could just do everything myself and bring somebody in for some money, to help me, purchase a piece of land or a piece of real estate. And I realized once I joined the Jake and Gino community that no, I need a team to support me, and I need to focus on the skills that I'm good at and seek people who are good at what I'm not good at. Mm-hmm. All right, so yeah. You want to stop there because there's more.
No, keep going. I mean, I'm loving every minute of it, so just keep rolling. So,
all right, man. So then, when I take something on, I take it on heavy, and I go in deep. Like I go in, I don't just half-ass anything. I just go in hard. So I was going in hard on this real estate stuff, just studying, listening to podcasts, reading books, doing all the coursework. I set up weekly calls with two of my mentors at the Jake and Gino community, and just picking everybody's brain, trying to get as much information as I possibly could, and planning, And then all of a sudden, so this was from November to February, and then in February, shit went south, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
My wife, then wife at the time, there was like a culminating event of, this was leading up to this event. It was years of, we can call it abuse. We can call it, alcoholism. Absolutely. It was every single day, all day. And she would get aggressive and violent with me. And I put up with it for years. And there was a culminating event where I said, I cannot put up with this anymore. I was busting my ass trying to make, positive things happen for our family. And the opposite was happening on her end. And I don't like to bash anybody. And I don't like to say, oh, it was all her fault. No, but you know what? There came a point where things just got dangerous in the household for my family. And I put an end to it. I said, this cannot happen anymore. My wife ended up taking my daughter, leaving for 2 weeks, not letting me see my daughter, blocking my calls. And she was staying with her family, her parents. And I went over there. They blocked me from coming in, the whole nine. I had to get police involved. I had to go get an order of protection. And it was just a terrible time in my life. That is currently still going on, by the way. It doesn't end. So divorce is not anything that's cool. And especially when you have a kid involved. And especially when you have somebody that is, I guess, abusing drugs and alcohol. And not to hark on that, but the point is that my life has been extremely challenging because of what's going on, yet I remain focused and dedicated to the mission of creating generational wealth for my friends and my family through multifamily investing. And it's funny, I had never intended on divorcing my wife. I intended on getting her help. I reached out to all of her family, and the majority of her family is still on my side and talking to me. Just her parents are not. And they're still trying to, steal my daughter from me. It's just it's a crazy mess. But the night so I was doing this multifamily real estate throughout, right? Learning, educating myself and trying to build and create a business. And it was in March, right? Almost a month after my wife had left. I was like, I need to start a meetup, because part of creating a business and a brand for yourself and creating yourself and demonstrating yourself as a thought leader is to have a meetup. So I said, let me do it. My first meetup, I was terrified. My hands are sweating, and it was supposed to start at 6 p.m. And at 5:55, some guy walks in and I say, welcome to my meetup. And he goes, bam. And he handed me a piece of paper that says, you're being served with divorce. My heart freaking dropped, man. And I had never expected any of this. And it was a purposeful tact to hurt me, knowing that I was going to have my first meetup. Trying to, so it's just life and people that you think are close to you, in love with you, trying to tear your life down. And I stuck through that night, and it was terrible. I did a presentation like shaking and like crying inside, and I got it done, and I did it, and I didn't give up. And today, I still am struggling with so many of these issues. For example, yesterday, I had to go to the police station, file another police report. Yet, I'm still creating deal offerings, offering memoranda. I'm still creating products to put out to my audience, because I know that in the end, if I can make this happen, I will create an existence for myself, my friends, my family that is going to be phenomenal.
So there's so much there, and I'm not even going to touch like half of it for a reason. But I want to touch on something that I can resonate with there, and it's important. And me and this guy would never speak ill on our exes. But I want to make something very clear to anybody that's listening. And it's hard, like really hard. When you start growing and you start doing better, there's going to be collateral damage of people that you care about that maybe in the short term, hopefully long term, that you're going to lose them or upset them or you're going to move past them. And the amount of fortitude, the amount of will that it takes to continue moving forward while you upset people close to you is one of the hardest things in the world. But it's something that I've made very clear to my clients and anybody that's around me. I don't care about your husband or wife. I don't care about your mom and dad. I don't care about your kids. I care about you. And if you, Nico, I, myself, try to become the best version of yourself, that's all the world's asking for. And I personally want to say that I didn't even know all that stuff. I knew some of it, and am blessed and honored to be in your world, and just blown away by the amount of positivity and value you're still giving the world, because it's so easy to just shut it down and sit in the corner. And so what do you tell yourself every day? Or is it that your why is so great that nothing can phase you?
It's a good question, man. I think I brainwashed myself. You know, every single day, my routine is the same. I get up, I do certain things. I drink water. I do a lion's breath. I jump up and down saying yes, 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 yes 20 times. Then I meditate, and then I write in my gratitude journal, and then I pray. And, from that point on, I'm focused, I'm ready to go, and I get right back into the grind. And I've been doing the same thing and not slacking on it for so long that it's become such a routine that's just ingrained in me that it's kind of like what's natural. So I have to, inside me, I keep myself accountable for having to, realize that I am creating a company that is going to be presented to the world, and that I want to present myself as a person with integrity and credibility, somebody who's professional, somebody who is caring, somebody who is going to be hardworking for somebody else's investment. Because in the end, I'm looking to get into deals where I'm going to have to be raising capital from people, and I want to present to people who I really am and who I genuinely am as a person. And I kind of want to jump back real quick to something that you said. It's like, it's difficult for us to leave behind people that are kind of holding us back, and for me and you in particular, because we are empathetic people. We care about those people. We truly do care about how they're feeling. And if I'm not, taking care of somebody, whether it's my fault or their fault, I just feel terrible, and I would love to carry and bring somebody with me. But if they're not going to come on the journey with us, we really have no choice, because we're doing the world a disservice if we're just going to not pursue our dreams and goals that are going to make the world a better place.
Mm-hmm. And I've mentioned this on my podcast, like, the easy thing to do would be to stay. The easy thing to do would be for you to just be a teacher. Like, that's super easy. You could live the rest of your life and surf a little bit. But I'll say the same thing to you that I say to people that I coach. I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing this for your kids. I'm doing this for all the people that you're going to impact. And regardless of what's going on between you and your ex-wife, your daughter has somebody that is trying to provide stability in her life and show her that there's a different way. And I would imagine that that is probably a large portion of how you continue to operate every day with such a positive mindset.
Tell you, absolutely. I mean, it's like when we're together, my battery just goes through the roof. I get so charged up, and I want to give and be and do everything for her. Obviously, that's not too healthy, because you want to have them. I want to raise an independent, strong person as well. So what I try to do is, instead of enforcing or telling or dictating things, I try to be the person that I think can be successful, and just to be an all-around good person in life, so that she can emulate that and just see what it is to be a successful person and just a good person in life. Yeah, she's amazing. She's my everything, man.
She makes me smile every time I see her on Instagram.
She is so cool.
She's so cool. What I want to switch gears, not that I love everything that's about, but I want to make sure that we provide a well-rounded podcast for everybody and kind of value. I'm impressed with the amount of thoughtfulness and tact that you take in your branding and your podcast, and mainly just you as a person in general. What advice would you give to newer investors, newer people looking to get in the game, that are trying to start a brand or just getting in general, and then later on we'll discuss some other stuff investing wise.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah. So, and I wish I kind of had this information when I was first starting too, because it is confusing when you start, and actually you feel overwhelmed when you're just getting into the game. You think you have so much to do, but the reality is, if we break it down step by step and set you up properly in the beginning, things will be a lot easier, and you'll be able to scale quickly. So, what I recommend people do is, first work on a company name or use your personal name. Once you're decided on that, and don't spend too much time on that, because a lot of people do, and it's not necessarily that important. What I would recommend then you do is go to and create a logo. I do the majority of my artwork and get a lot of the services that I need done on Fiverr.com. There are other companies or other websites that do similar, that have similar services. I like Fiverr.com because I've been working there for a while. And I recommend getting what's called like a branding palette. So get a color palette. Somebody can do it for $10 for you. You can work with them back and forth on your favorite colors and what kind of image you're trying to present, what kind of mood you're trying to present to the world, what your goals are. Once you have this little color palette, it's like a branding color palette. You take that and then you create what's called your logo. And then you take that logo and you put it on your email signature. So you're going to start beefing up everything you have, because in communications with people, you're going to want to present yourself as professional and legitimate and credible. So I take that logo, put it on an email signature. You can get somebody to do that for you very cheap as well on Fiverr. And then what you do is you take that logo and you can create a website. Some people might not be ready for a website, but you can also then create what's called a one-pager. And I use a one-pager all the time to present to brokers that I'm trying to deal with. I use a one-pager to present to possible partners. I have a one-pager to present to investors. I have a one-pager to present to people that are podcasting, and I'm going to interview them or be interviewed on their podcast. So a one-pager is something that either you can design yourself or have somebody do it on Fiverr. That's going to contain your logo and your objective and some information about you that's relevant to whoever is going to be reading it. So if, for example, if you're going to be giving it to a broker, you want to have information on your one pager about who you are, what you're looking for, where you're looking for it, what your investment strategy is, and who's on your team, and some contact information. This helps immensely when you're handing that to a broker who you've never spoken to before. You're kind of cold calling a broker and you're freaking out whether or not, they're going to take you seriously. Who is this random person coming in? Can I really get a deal done? Well, this one pager will kind of give you confidence, and it'll also, show that yes, you have some credibility. For my first one pager, I created like a team. I was part of the team, and then I had, my two coaches as my advisors. And Austin, I'm sure you can attest to that. If any of the people that you're mentoring would like to create a one pager, you can be their advisor. Doesn't mean that you're necessarily going to chip in money for the deal, but you're the one who's advising them on the deal, and it shows credibility because you're the professional and you are not going to steer your client wrong, right? And that's really something that's going to be valuable for a broker to see. Okay, well, this person's working with a true real estate investor. I think we can find this person a deal. So what I do is then, after we have the one pager, I recommend, or even actually right before you have the one pager, I recommend taking pictures of yourself, because you're going to need pictures for your social media posts, your one pager, your website, if and when you do that, your email signature, all that stuff. So to get pictures, and I'll tell you, people freak out about this all the time, getting professional pictures done. They're like, oh, I hired a photographer. I'd say you don't need to hire a photographer. Take your cell phone, take selfies, or set up a tripod, or have somebody take pictures of you. You just need 10 to 20 pictures to put 2 to 3 different outfits on of the image that you want to present to the world. Take those pictures, send them to Fiverr. They're going to whiten up your teeth. They're going to clean up the image. They're going to make you look nice. If you have nose hairs, they're going to get rid of the nose hairs. They're going to give you a tan, and they're going to remove the background and give you a white background. So these things are excellent tools that you can use and get done for $30, things that you can use for the next couple of years to put on your email signature to look professional, to put on your one pager, to put in your social media posts, so that you're presented as a professional in the world of real estate.
You know that show where they have like the master classes. You know, you
No.
seen that? Like where like Oprah Winfrey teaches talk show, and you know Anthony Bourdain teaches cooking. Like it's a master class, like you pay per month. That's what I feel
Right.
like. That's what I feel like we're in right now. A master class on how to get started in real estate.
Tell you, man.
And what I mean by that is, I mean it's the most A to Z explanation of what needs to get done.
Yeah, and you know what? These are the things that people either take a long time on or just freak out about. But it's you can just contract them out, and even
But
getting the website.
can I tell you a secret? I should never say this on camera, but I don't care. So I get so many compliments on my logo. I mean, a lot. Right?
I love your logo. Yep.
Yeah. My business partner did it on his cell phone while he was on the beach.
I'll tell you.
Everybody thinks we spent 6 months on it. It took 5 minutes, guys. He sent me a thing. I said, no, yes. Okay, that looks better. Do that. Okay, great. Boom. We were done.
I'll tell you, man, in the end, and it looks beautiful. I love your logo.
Yeah.
And I did that wood piece for you.
Yeah.
And I love it. But it doesn't even matter that much. And the problem is people spend too much time on things that are insignificant, not moving the needle for them in the business, where they think that things like the logo or the way, if their picture isn't perfect, that's not what really matters in the end. So business name, logo, and pictures, those are some things that should be knocked out. Yes.
Dude, he made this for me, guys. It is my favorite thing. I took it around the United States. We're headed to Florida on Friday. It's coming with me to the beaches in Florida too.
Love it, man. Love it.
You know, and this is another topic I want you to hit on because it's super important. And people think I'm crazy. I have all my clients. Not only am I a coach, but I'm also teaching them social media. I'm learning as I go. But talk about whether you were scared or not scared, but talk about the joys of, did you ever think 2 years ago or a year ago that you would have your own podcast?
Oh, no freaking way, man. And I even said no. So I had a conversation with this guy, John Kasman, who I love him. He's a syndicator also. And I met him, months ago, and I had a conversation with him, and I said, there's no way he asked me, are you going to do a podcast? I said, there's no way I'm going to do a podcast. And he said, let me tell you, man. He said, just from our conversation right now, I think you can handle it. And you know what? Here are the benefits. And it's funny. I was thinking that doing a podcast was like all about your listeners and how many people you're going to impact by listening. But you know what? In the first couple of months, you're not getting many listeners at all. But the major thing that he told me was that you're going to be creating connections with the people you interview. Now, these people that you're getting onto interview are like top dogs in the real estate game. You're going to want to be talking to them. On top of that, you get to pick their brain one-on-one. I said, this is freaking amazing. So talk about education, on steroids. I think that the podcast is, it's sick, man. I'm sold. I'm happy.
I had two things that happened to me. One, I read Expert Secrets, and I'm currently reading Traffic Secrets by Russell Brunson. I can't recommend these books enough, just in business in general. But more importantly, my buddy asked me, he said, if you had to vacuum seal the podcast and nobody was allowed to listen to it for 3 months, would you still do it? And I go, hell yeah. He goes, well, then who cares?
Yeah, exactly. That's beautiful, man.
Because you're giving, right? Here's my fear. Well, nobody's going to come on. But now you're giving them a platform to share their story and get their story out to their fans. And then you get information. And here's what's wild. I just had this conversation with my video guy and my assistant. And I go, you do understand that you'll have 100 clips of the best education you've ever had in your life. And my video guy goes, I'm not even in real estate, and I know more than everybody from your podcast listening to your videos all the time. The truth.
It is the truth, man. There's so much knowledge out there, and how else? What's a better way to share it? I mean, webinars are great, meetups are great, podcasts are. It's like a structured environment where you're drilling somebody one-on-one, and you're getting the most out of them. For me personally, I don't have these conversations with people all the time, and I love having these conversations. We're getting deep. We're really getting to the bottom of what it really takes to succeed in the real estate game. I think these conversations are just so valuable.
It's really interesting, and you might not have seen this because you're busy. And I was going to talk to you about this anyway, regardless if we were on the air or not. But Chris Grinzik, who is my buddy, and we're speaking tonight on Facebook Live with some other investors, runs Toro Capital or is a syndicator for Toro Capital, and they're crushing it. And he's been messing around with TikTok for a little bit. I've never been on it, and he posted a video of me on my podcast saying something. 60 seconds, guys. 60 seconds. In 7 days, 70,000 people have seen that.
Holy shit.
And here's what's crazy is that is also in my profile is attached to my YouTube channel and my Instagram. And I was talking about my financial advisor, and I've got 10 clients for my financial advisor off that post. And I've got 20 more subscribers on YouTube, 30 more subscribers on Instagram. You have to be hitting all the bases, dude.
Yeah, Chris is the man. I had him on my podcast also. He actually lives right in a few towns over from me on Long Island in New York. Crazy. And yes, I saw that video that you're talking about, number one, awesome. And I saw that he was doing TikTok. He talked about it a few months ago, and I tried to do one video also, and I just failed. But I'm gonna get back to it because it's necessary, man. It's such. You're right. It's a place where you have the potential to grow so quickly. And I've been focusing on LinkedIn and really,
which is great. It's all good. And I think that if I can give anybody any advice, is understand your audiences on each platform. Like, I'm not going to go and do a video of me with my wig and my wife beater on LinkedIn. This is a business platform. And then more importantly, like, post on TikTok, but don't be so concerned about the comments. It's a younger audience. They might talk shit. Who gives a shit? I just laugh it off. But it's all relative, because what I love about all this stuff is clear and simple. And this is something that I've had to think about. I can't control my message or what I'm saying to you when it hits you. And what I mean by that is this is a document, not creating, document, not creating. This is a documentation of my life and to see me grow. And if somebody 20 years from now looks up my podcast and gets value from it, well, then we've won. Like, this is something that's going to live forever. And if you think you have nothing to say, well, then make your podcast about you have nothing to say. Like, like, remove yourself from the trepidations of what you have to offer and just document. Like,
that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Your daughter will be able to look at this when she's 16. Like, look at my dad. He's such an idiot. Like, look at him, and like, that's so great. It's so amazing. I always think about what Gary Vee says. Like, can you imagine my grandkids being able to see me live? Like, you know what I'm saying? But something I want to talk about before we get off, you just told me that once again, this guy's swimming the other way. You just invested, screw a single family house. You invested in how big is the deal?
This is 194 units.
Okay. And the comfort factor in something like that is there because of why?
Yeah, so it's really the team that I'm with, and the team that I'm working with currently. I've been working with them or looking at deals and offering on deals with them since the springtime. We met. We formed a good relationship. We all have different qualities and different skill sets, and they asked me to actually jump on this deal with them. It's in Ohio. They asked me to jump. I don't know how much we can talk about it because it's a 506B.
Yeah, please don't.
And funding's not raised yet. But they asked me to jump on, and that's okay because I don't know when this is going to air either. But they asked me to jump on the deal months ago, and I couldn't do it. And I couldn't do it for financial reasons and just the whole marital stuff. And I was focused on solely, purchasing something in Tampa, which I still am looking and very dedicated to. But I couldn't at the time. They ended up purchasing this deal cash. They had a cash buy. One of their partners was a cash buyer. They bought this thing cash, closed quick, and got a crazy deal on it. That a few weeks later, they called me back and said, "Hey, do you want to do some marketing and investor relations for us?" I said, "You know what? Yes, I am back on." I signed on. I said, "I'm rejuvenated energy." I said, "I got this. We can handle this. We're going to make it happen." And they're so freaking understanding and so good about my situation that I cannot. It's like, I mean, there's only so much some people can give to prove their worth as a valid team member, that it's like I can't not work with these people based on what they're providing me with and the support that they're giving me based on my current living situation and my current condition. So I can't ask for anything more. I feel so blessed to be a part of this team.
And that's an extremely important point I want to hit on, is that don't you ever for 1 second as a human being define what your value is to somebody else. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of people that I'm dealing with this right now, and I deal with this on a daily basis. There's a lot of people I'm saying, reach out to me. Like, I'm willing to jump on a free call, and nobody wants to jump on a call. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because they're worried, well, he's too busy or he doesn't want to provide value. Who knows who helped that person get to where they are? How dare you determine what your value is to them? Just go out with an open heart and lean into these relationships, and you have no idea where this will take you.
It's so true, man. I was so in myself thinking that, no, I can't do it. I'm going to be a poor team member. I'm not going to give enough value. And you're right. They saw the value in me, and I didn't have to prove myself. They just kept asking me, and you know what? You ask me enough. Yeah, I will absolutely join a phenomenal team and on a phenomenal deal. Yes.
Well, dude, I just want to tell you that you're an amazing human. I'm so happy about everything that you have going on. I can't wait to grow with you, and I just love your positivity and everything you have going on. And if people want to find out about you, how do they get in contact?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can either go to my website or email me. But if you go to my website, you're going to be able to, to find my email. So www.smallactscommunities.com. Find me there. You can book a call with me or send me an email. You can even get my cell phone number and shoot me a text. And I text all the time, or you can call me. I know for some people, it's scary to just pick up, the phone and call somebody, but we could start with texting, and then we'll call each other.
You know what I do to them? I don't even get on the call with them. I said, no, let's just do a podcast. And they're like, hold on, I want to talk first. No, you're not allowed. Yeah. No. Yeah. Just put them on the spot. Well, dude, I appreciate it, guys. If you like this episode, make sure you send it out with your friends, share it around, and we'll see you next time, guys.
Thank you for listening to Construct Your Life with Austin Linney. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to rate, review, subscribe, and pay it forward by sharing with a friend. Most importantly, take this opportunity to start constructing your life by taking immediate action on what you learned. For show notes, resources, and more information on one-on-one coaching with Austin, visit constructyourlifepodcast.com.